now I'm all windswept. Hi everybody, my name is Susan. I'm an artist and I live in Sydney. And I just thought I would share with you maybe 3 top tips if you're using Copic markers, Prismacolor water-based markers, or Graphic Pro Duo markers, or Arteza, or whatever, for the first time. I remember when I first started using this equipment and I just couldn't get enough of it. And now it's basically my staple. And so I just thought I would share with you 3 things that maybe you should keep in mind of. Let's be very honest here. These are not cheap. These markers are not cheap. And if you are living in Australia, they're even more expensive, I feel, than anywhere else. So when you're buying Copic markers, Prismacolor markers, maybe not so much Graphic Pro Duo, you could be spending upwards of $12, maybe even more per pen. And so it's actually a gigantic investment in art supplies. And the last thing you really want is to be spending so much money on art supplies and then realizing that you don't know how to use them. So if you're using these for the very first time, my recommendation to you is to get grays. Gray colors there's 3 types of, you can get actually a pack, I think, of grays, and then neutral gray, cool gray, and warm gray, 1 to 10, plus like a black, and then a special black, and a whole bunch of other things. And I'm talking specifically about Copic markers, but they are not cheap. Like this box is not cheap by any means. So my suggestion to you is to really think about what sort of art you're going to be doing. Are you going to be doing something that's more outdoory kind of art? Because if you're going to do sort of landscape, maybe nature art, I would suggest maybe using something that is on, as well as, it being sunny day or something like that. Maybe you want to consider warm grays. So maybe get yourself like a W2, W5, and then W7. Like just go up a few at a time, and then get a really good black ink marker, and maybe 1 step down from that, so a W10. Maybe you just get 3 or 4 different grays, and then get yourself some colors, like not all the colors, just some colors, because part of the excitement process, I guess, for people who are moving into this sort of way of trying to find their art, or trying to find like what sort of artist they are. Oh, message. Oh no, it's telling me it's great that I stayed active. Part of the excitement process is that you might just actually go insane in an art store, whether it's online or whether it's actually in person. And the in-person one is probably the most exciting one, because it's just right there in front of you. But if you are budget conscious, just don't go too insane. Just get yourself a few really nice colors, and then try and figure out like the layer of shadow work that you might be doing. You'll see behind me, I have actually got like, I think so I've got, a few shades of yellow, a few shades of orange, so many shades of red, because I use red often. But these are all things I've collected over the years and then had replaced, and yeah. I would also highly recommend that you keep a log of how many neutral colors you have, if you've got neutral colors or warm colors, because I accidentally bought 4 neutral gray and 2 gray colors, and I don't really know what to do with that. Tip number 2, storage. Now, a huge problem I had was when I was collecting these and I started getting more and more enthusiastically buying them, is that I had nowhere to put them, or they would just be scattered everywhere. Now, a lot of people kind of think, well, yeah, you can get these really nice storage things, and do you hear that? There's bells outside. So for a lot of people, a lot of stationary storage is really good, but what happens when you start to collect way more pens than can fit into storage units? And I highly recommend these. So these are Arteza pen storage, basically suitcases. So they clip up, and they have Velcro, and they actually also have a strap that you can put around you and literally hold it like a bag or hold it like a case. And it's been excellent. I've bought 2 so far. It is really good storage for these sorts of pens, and so I'll put a link in the description box below. And I guess most importantly, you've got the pens, you've got the storage, using them. So when you're using the pens, and it didn't really come to me until a bit of trial and error, it really helps to test out your pens before you actually put them onto your artwork. So if you're drawing something and you're getting ready to color it in, I suggest whatever sketchbook, whatever art book you're using, rip out a page, divide it into 4, and then you'll always have something that you can test out colors for. I've got a couple of examples here. Do I have a couple of examples? It will mean nothing to you on camera, but I'm just going to explain it anyway. So this page here is 150 GSM, and it was from an A1 art book that I was using at the time. And this here is 90 GSM, and there is actually a difference. One, the 150 GSM paper is coarser, it's thicker, and because it's thicker, it absorbs. It will absorb your pen's something severe. This is 90 GSM, and it's a lot smoother to write on. It doesn't absorb as much as the 150, but it's just good to see what your ink actually looks like when you are putting it on the page. So, don't know if you can see it here as much, but specifically that blue color. Maybe I can get into focus somehow. Ugh, horrible nails. So that blue color, you can see how it's not really a nice consistent line because it is thick and coarse, and because that's what the paper is. But when you look over here at this yellow, which, you know, yeah, this yellow, you can see that it's actually smoother and it's going to fill in the space more. There is no, I don't think that there is a proper purpose-built page for Copic markers, and I know that there is like brands like Copics, sorry, I don't know what the correct pronunciation is anyway. Copic markers, they also have their own art books, which has a smoother surface and it's a bit thicker. There's also graphic design, graphic art kind of books as well. But from my experience, I don't actually know if they're any good, and I don't know if they actually suit the art that I was doing. So I've spent quite a lot of my own money experimenting with what types of, I guess, GSM sketchbooks I like, and so far I think the winner for me is actually the one that I'm using currently. So this is Reeves sketch paper, A3 90 GSM. This has been the best one so far that I have used. So yeah, so like that was just an example of some art that I did in this book, but it has been really good, and it also takes on ink quite well, and it doesn't feel like it drains the pen as much, whereas I feel like with the 150, do you like how I started Inktober and then I never finished it? Does anybody else do that? They think to themselves every year, I'm going to do Inktober, and then they just get to day 3 and they go, I don't really care anymore. Yeah, I have found that that's been the best one so far. It just depends on the type of artist you are and what sort of artwork you want to do. Of the things that I've talked about, and maybe you've just decided that you're going to start using Copic markers, Prismacolor, Graphic Pro Duo, Arteza, whatever is out there. One, don't go gung-ho and spend so much money unless that sale is so good. I went crazy. Once they were selling Graphic Pro Duos for about $2 a pen. So I went and bought so many of them, like 20 or 30 of them, because it was a sale. Would I buy 30 pens at full price? No way, no way. Graphic Pro Duo is an alcohol-based marker, and I do find it overwhelming to use smell-wise. And then try and figure out the shading of these sorts of pens because it does take a little bit of time. And secondly, make sure you've got good storage. I recommend these, and I'm going to have them at the bottom of the description box. And thirdly, just tear out a sheet and then just see what the pen actually looks like on the paper, because nothing is more disappointing than putting it directly onto the artwork and thinking, no, that's not what I wanted. I hope this was informative in any way. If you want to see some of my artworks, please go to my Instagram, which is @SwoodMakesArt. I also have a Facebook page that I don't update, so I should really stop talking about it. But go and check me out on my Instagram feed and have a lovely day. It is January and it is so hot here in Sydney right now. Yeah, let's just hope that this is going to be a much better year.